punk was everywhere in the 2000s, man. Whether it be commercials, TV shows, movies, video games, and the overwhelming amount of bands that just popped out of nowhere, man. And just like the bands, the genre seemingly popped out of nowhere. But the punk scene actually got some interesting history to it, dating back to the 70s, where urban city kids felt like rock was getting too stale and safe. And as teens do, they rebelled against the norm. They started to dress different, they started to act different. And of course with these changes, the music followed. They started to host these small concerts, barely knowing how to play their instruments. And their lyrics would usually just consist of them yelling out whatever political movement they was against. And these concerts would get crazy, man. Maybe a little too crazy, cause I heard somebody was cutting themselves for glass on stage, oh my god. But out of this craziness, will come the punk pioneers, such as Television, Sex Pistols, and Patti Smith. Eventually, this urban subculture will move to the suburbs of Cali, where it will pick up a sound that has already been experimented with by bands like the Buzzcocks and Generation X, but it will be solidified by the band of the mid-80s, The Descendants. With their albums Milo Goes to College and I Don't Wanna Grow Up, the lighthearted teen poppy sound of pop rock was cemented in history. Fast forward to the 2000s and that sound is running rampant, but it was a run we all enjoyed, man. Like I can't think of pop punk and not think of a good time. And that's why we just about to hop right into it, man. Let's talk about when pop punk took over the world. But before we start, I do want to say this is the first time I'm doing a video where I didn't make any of the beats that you hear in the background. So all of the beats for this video comes from different producers. And I cannot start this video without shouting them out. So shout out Slay and Abyss using 2 of his beats, Skyway, Paranoia Beats, Cleddy, and 05 Allergen. This video would not carry the vibe it does without y'all beats, so shout out y'all, and let's get into it.
As a doctor, my day can get busy in a real hurry, and with my hectic schedule, I don't have time to deal with acid, heartburn, and indigestion. So when my painful stomach acts up, I turn to the one product that's scientifically proven to work.
Blink-182, now with 50% better song.
When it comes to talking about pop punk, I feel it's only right to start off with the genre's first big hitters, Blink-182. Now they already had some type of buzz in the mid-90s, but it wasn't until their album, Enema of the State, that they became a household name, man. And they did so on their own terms, rather than coming in with a more serious and dark tone like their contemporaries Green Day. Blink-182 was nothing but fun, man. Pure, angsty teenage fun, with hits like All the Small Things, What's My Age Again, First Date, Feeling This. Speaking about Feeling This, that song is hard. That song go crazy. And coming right after Blink-182 was Sum 41, with they hits Fat Lip and In Too Deep, with Fat Lip containing elements of rap rock, which is a thing I've never really been a fan of, you know what I'm saying? Like that rap rock sound was always a little corny to me. Only with Soup came in swinging with 1985, Girls All the Boys Want, and High School Never Ends. All of these songs sounded like they came directly from an early 2000s teen rom-com, man. Simple Plan had Just a Kid, which I know people call corny. I don't care. I mess with the song. Speaking of corny, we also had Good Charlotte. Now Good Charlotte was a little interesting because there was a punk band that had a slight urban hip-hop twist to their style and attire. Nonetheless, they was out here giving us fun bops like the Anthem, Girls and Boys, and the Lifestyle of the Rich and Famous. Newfound Glory had fun hits like My Friends Over You and Hit or Miss. Avril Lavigne had Skater Boy. But speaking about Avril Lavigne, man, let's talk about how Disney stole her whole flow, man. Cause for the longest time, I was wondering, why do Avril Lavigne remind me of Disney Channel every time I hear her music? And it's because Disney copied her style and put her on all their female acts. From Hilary Duff, Demi Lovato, Selena Gomez, even a little bit of Miley, man. They all had some Avril in them, man. Of course with a sprinkle of Haley Williams on top because you can't forget Paramore. But yeah though, now I can't listen to Complicated without hearing the Disney Channel original movie right behind it, man. Hopping off of Disney Channel, we got Miley's Brother in the Metro Station with Shake It. A song we all thought was simply about dancing as a kid, man. It wasn't until I got older that I found out it was about getting some butt. Speaking on dancing, we have Fall Out Boy pop out with Dance Dance, and All American Rejects popped out with the toxic anthem, Give You Hell. And just to be clear, this type of pop hit wasn't the norm for All American Rejects, as they would usually stay on the other side of pop punk, the emo side. Now on the emo side, they will be going full force, giving us hits like Swing Swing, which is a bop to this day. Don't care what nobody say, that song still hit. Move Alone, Dirty Little Secret, and It Ends Tonight, which is a more slow song compared to the other three I just mentioned, but it still hit. Now they wasn't the only ones swinging emo. Fall Out Boys had Sugar We're Going Down, Boys Like Girls had Great Escape, Green Day had Boulevard of Broken Dreams, The Killers had Mr. Brightside, which is a song I don't think any 2000s kid can hear and resist the urge to not sing along to, man. Wait, hold up. Coming out of my cage, I've been doing just fine. Blink 182 of our bands dipped their toe in the emo scene a little bit. What I Miss You, a song that is infamous for a strong emo twang, man.
Where are you? And I'm so sorry.
Adam Lambert had What Do You Want From Me? Man, who remembers Adam Lambert, man? Dude won American Idol and then proceeded to drop one of the hardest emo songs of all time. But while we on the topic of the hardest emo songs of all time, we have to mention the two superstars of emo. That being Paramore and My Chemical Romance. Wasn't nobody out here doing emo like them, man. Paramore had Hayley Williams, who, as I stated before, got her sound stolen by Disney, but with songs like Misery Business, Decode, Crush Crush Crush, that's what you get. And Pressure, can you really blame nobody? Then we slide over to My Chemical Romance, who is unarguably the face of emo, with songs like Helena, I'm Not Okay, and the certified emo anthem, Black Parade. And if you think this ain't the anthem, blast this song in the middle of suburbia and watch everybody over 30 go buck wild, man. And with songs like this pushing the pop punk movement, there's no question why it had such an impact on the media back in the day, man.
Well, I don't do my iconic victory dance for nothing. Okay, I guess just this once I can do it for nothing. Ew, ew, ew. Okay, I guess I can do one more for nothing. Ew, ew, ew.
We cannot talk about pop punk's influence on media without talking about teenage movies of the 2000s, man. The teen movies of the 2000s is the first thing that comes to mind when I think of pop punk. Movies like American Pie, that free nasty movie that none of us had any business watching as kids, man. I mean, I seen it through my older siblings. They was watching it and I just so happened to sit down and watch it with them. I mean, I shouldn't have, but I did. So yeah, another teen comedy I had no business watching, John Tucker Must Die. Now this was one of the only teen comedies we had on DVD. And when I tell you we used to have this movie on repeat, we literally used to go to sleep, wake up with this movie on. And in the middle of saying that sentence, it just occurred to me, there's people alive today who don't know what this is. They've never seen this in their life. That's crazy. John Tucker goated, simple as that. Now of course we have more than that. There was also Euro Trip, a fun little road trip movie. The siblings kissed in that movie. That's nasty. And not another teen movie. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I can't stand these parody movies, man. They just fit with some of the most lowbrow, easy humor you can possibly think of. And the pop culture references, oh my goodness, I hate it. But to be fair to this movie, this was made in 2001, so this is before they start going trash. Now, I also wanted to mention Road Trip, which doesn't necessarily have a pop punk soundtrack, but the vibes of the movie perfectly fit the other pop punk teen coms. Now moving away from the raunchiness, we also have Freaky Friday, a movie that is literally pop punk to its core. I mean, Lindsay Lohan's character is a punk girl with a punk band. You can't get more punk than that. Now moving away from Disney, over to Nickelodeon with Clockstoppers, whose soundtrack is filled with pop punk. And again, while we're talking about kid channels, let's move over to Cartoon Network. Not for any movie, but because I feel like Cartoon Network embodied pop punk way more than the other two channels. But let's not forget, they was also giving us bops with Sia and Grooves. We had the Powerpuff Girls, Supergirl, Dee Dee and Dexter, Jabberjaw. I don't think there's a single person who don't know how Jabberjaw go. They played this song to its grave, man. They also have some bops with the bumpers. If y'all remember that one with the hives. But more than just the grooves and the bumpers, it was the theme songs, man. The theme songs used to go crazy. We had What's New Scooby-Doo, which had one of the best theme songs of all time. I personally didn't even watch the show, but I knew that theme song from heart, man. Puffy Yummy Yumi, Stoked, Total Drama, 16. Man, listen, I know everybody hype up Total Drama, but 16 is such an underrated show, man. I might like it more than Total Drama, to be honest. I like the characters more, and the show overall just got this chill vibe to it. And the theme song, come on now. Now, Cartoon Network wasn't the only ones cooking up with theme songs, man. Nickelodeon had Kappa Mikey, a show you might not remember too well, but when you hear that theme song, all the memories just come flooding back, man. Life as a teenage robot, an underrated show with an underrated theme song, man. Disney Channel had Phineas and Ferb, sung by yours truly, Bowling with Soup. They had Witch on Jetix, whose theme song had no business going as hard as it does. Zeke and Luther on XD, which I know came out in the 2010s, but it got the same vibe as the 2000 style, and plus it's the early 2010s, so it still kinda count. And since I'm bending the rules a little bit, I'm also throw Malcolm in the Middle in there, cause yeah. And we cannot move on to theme song category without talking about the anime openings, man. Whether you was watching it on Toonami or Saturday morning cartoons, they was making sure them theme songs hit. Bleach was out here dropping them punk hits with their first and fourth opening. And bro, when you talk about theme songs taking you back in time, Bleach got it, man. Watching these back, I just get hit with a rush of pure happiness and nostalgia, man. Yu-Gi-Oh! GX and EXO both have some hype punk theme songs, man. And of course, you gotta throw the original Blade Blade in there. But if we wanna talk about not just pure nostalgia, but embodying punk to its core, then we gotta talk about Sonic X. Not just Sonic X, but also the Sonic games. We had Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Colors, Sonic Heroes, Sonic Riders, Sonic games in general, man. Sonic games in the 2000s was going dummy. But Sonic wasn't the only one going dummy with the punk sound, man. Cause if you played any extreme sports games in the 2000s, you know what's up. We had SSX3, one of the most fun snowboarding games, published by EA Big back in 2003, with the pop-punk sound loud in the background. I ain't never owned the game myself, but my cousins had it, and we used to play it over their house. Fun times, man. We also had Tony Hawk's Pro Skater series. It's about as punk as you can get. A game I never played myself, but I know it was popular, so yeah. Now, one extreme sports game that I do own and still play to this day is Burnout Revenge. I say this with full confidence, man. Burnout Revenge is my favorite game of all time. There is no debate. From the intense and fast-paced racing, being able to be reckless. Not only can you crash into your opponents, but you can also crash into oncoming traffic and just take off like nothing happened, man. And in the background, aiding the intensity of the game, is the perfect pop-punk soundtrack, man. I already be locked in with the racing, but the soundtrack just adds on to it, man. And with pop-punk taking on its own personality with media such as this, there's no question why it had such an impact on the youth of all backgrounds, at the scale that it did.
And then I turned on the TV, and that's about the time she walked away from me. Nobody likes it when you're 23, and you're still acting like it's freshman year.
It's much better to face these sorts of things with the sense of voice and personality, down this Panic at the Disco.
In the modern era, the kids that were once fans of the music are now the ones making it, and they shamelessly wear their influences on their sleeves. You got Olivia Rodrigo, who popped out with her hit Good For You, off her album Sour, that is full of pop-punk reminiscent of the past. Like she straight up sound like a baby Hayley Williams. And obviously I ain't the only one who noticed, cause Chick faced major backlash off that. Billie Eilish expressed her love for Paramore, with them sharing the stage together not once, but twice. Both Willow Smith and MGK was out here dropping whole pop-punk albums, with Willow's Lately I Feel Everything and MGK's Tickets to My Downfall, bringing on legends like Avril Lavigne and Travis Barker to give it that authentic stamp of approval. And the wave don't stop with them. There's a whole load of new TikTok artists bringing in the new age of pop-punk, but the influence of the 2000s era being prevalent in their music. The influence of pop-punk even found its way into hip-hop. Some might think punk and hip-hop are polar opposites, but that couldn't be further from the truth, with them both actually having very similar backgrounds. Both came out of New York from the late 60s to early 70s, both came from rebellious teens, challenging the norms of the industry, and both had the pillars of their culture birthed out of underground parties and gatherings. Hip-hop and punk is kinda like long-distance cousins for real, with neither side afraid to embrace each other. Y'all remember when Lil Wayne dropped that rock album? I mean, the whole thing wasn't punk, but he did have a couple, like Knockout, Get a Life, and we cannot forget the 2016 wave of SoundCloud rap that brought up a whole generation of rappers raised on My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, and Paramore. Lil Uzi, Playboi Carti, Trippie Redd, X, Lil Peep, Juice WRLD, London Cube, Little Lotus, all artists coming out the subgenre of melodic/emo rap. From the way they dress, move, talk, If I remember back then, all of them was talking about how they rock stars. It's all emo, it's all punk. Even now with rage music, it's just a deviation from emo rap, that's a deviation from pop punk. And to me, that's simply amazing of how one subgenre that's not even barely 50 years old was able to bloom into this huge thing and leave a lasting impact to influence generations from now to the future.